The whole Tylenol debacle of the left getting so upset at Trump saying that you should not take Tylenol if you're pregnant and to tough it out if you can. The left has gone crazy. You've seen pregnant mothers guzzling Tylenol just to prove a point and whatever else. And if this doesn't, through several of my conversations, if this doesn't scream a lack of personal responsibility, I don't know what does. Bill Donahue in The War on Virtue talks about how personal responsibility is necessary for you to be able to pursue the American dream, and how the left focuses so much on group culture and a lack of personal responsibility. Because in my conversations, there's this whole outcry, right? Somebody could take what Trump says at face value and they should tough it out, and they try to tough it out because that's what Trump said to do. And then their baby gets harmed because they had 104-degree fever and they didn't take Tylenol because, Trump said not to. We're worried about those people. Well, where is the personal responsibility to check in with your doctor? Where is your personal responsibility to try to do a little bit of your own research? Where's your personal responsibility at all? This idea that it's like there's so many things in society right now on both sides of the aisle. I'm not even going to say that it doesn't exist on both extreme sides, because both extreme sides, you talk about parenting, authoritarian and permissive. Like, they both have their own, there are qualms in both of the extremes. You have to find something in the middle. And the same goes here. But as we're talking about here with the War on Virtue, Bill Donahue here in chapter 1 talked a bit about different demographics of people, different races, and then Mormons. It was the only religious group that he referenced, and how they practice these vital virtues. He says that in order to pursue the American dream, you have to have self-discipline, personal responsibility, and perseverance. If you lack any of those three things, you are not going to find the fullness of purpose and fulfillment in life. So when he talked about Asians, he talked about how they are so dedicated, they work so hard. Jewish people far outweigh any demographic on winning Nobel Peace Prizes. And why is that? He talked about Nigerian people who have in their constitution, it's all about coming together as a group. It is group civilization, not individualism, and coming together. And ultimately, right, the Constitution focuses on citizenship. It's not individual rights that matter the most. It's individual responsibilities, is what he says on page 41 here. So, and it says the Nigerian Constitution begins by specifying that the duty of every citizen is to work for the common good. It says it offers explicit directives such as the need for citizens to abide by the Constitution, respect its ideals and its institutions, the national flag, the national anthem, the national pledge, and legitimate authorities. Citizens are also called upon to enhance the power, prestige, and good name of Nigeria, and to respect the dignity of other citizens. They are expected to make a positive and useful contribution to the advancement, progress, and well-being of the community, and to work with lawful agencies in the maintenance of law and order. And so when you talk about all these different cultures, they're all so different, right? When I think about America and how we are considered the melting pot. That is something that was taught to me in high school. We're this melting pot of cultures, and I just think that it's so unfortunate that with all of these beneficial things that we have access to, we have the benefit of having every culture, in the world. I don't know, probably not, but so many cultures, hundreds, thousands of cultures that are living here in the United States. And we have this ability to glean the best from each of those cultures. We already do that in food, right? We have the Mexican restaurants, you know which ones are good. You have the Chinese all-you-can-eat buffets, great food everywhere, all the MSG, please. But why is it an MSG, honestly, right? Go back 50 years and MSG wasn't even a conversation. Now it's like this Tylenol thing, right? I have never been one to think that I should take more pharmaceuticals when I'm pregnant. In general, I try to limit my pharmaceutical intake because they're synthetic drugs. Why would I want to put it in my body unnecessarily if I can tough it out, right? And it's my responsibility to choose when it's beneficial for me. But when you live in the United States right now, it is a victim mindset. And that's exactly what Bill says here, that you cannot succeed as a society if you think that everyone else is out to get you. You can't do it. That's like how to make a society collapse 101. It's biblical. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And so there are powers that be that don't want to see the United States succeed. They want to see us collapse. I think about algorithms. I think about different things, how they can be really beneficial to spreading good things, and obviously can be so detrimental. I was just watching, she's in The Good Place. I don't remember her name. But she was just talking, I think that her name is the same in The Good Place as it is in real life. She has the long dark hair though, tall, very pretty. But she was just saying how because of the algorithms, we're all living in just totally different realities. And because you're seeing something totally different than what I'm seeing, and I say, I think Charlie Kirk was a good guy, but then you're seeing stuff about Charlie Kirk, and you're just like, how you're a terrible person if you think that due to what you've been consuming. We're just living in totally different realities. I think about that when Trump was going up for office. Everything that I was seeing, it was like a no-brainer. Why would anybody vote for Kamala? Trump is obviously the best option here, right? But since there are millions of views, what's a million views if you have 1 billion people participating? 1 million is nothing. So that's like $1 to what? 100,000? It's three off, It's just like you have $100,000 and you have $1. Like, it's nothing. It's such a small percentage. And so or 3 off, it's $1 to $1,000, right? Big difference. Sorry. It's late. I'm actually recording this on Saturday night because I went to Mass for 4:00 and I cantered and I really enjoyed it. And I'm very glad that I can honor God with my voice. And I have the personal responsibility to coordinate that with my husband so that he can watch the children while I go do that. But as it stands, we as a society, we are lacking in grit. We are lacking in the ability to just live as a community. And a huge part of that is due to social media. There's no way around it. We're living different realities. I'm just like flipping through this first chapter because I made all these notes and I'm just kind of flipping through. But this whole concept of personal responsibility, it says perception is important. And I think it is what holds African Americans back. If you start thinking about or becoming absorbed in the mentality that the whole system is against us, then you cannot succeed. Nigerians do not have this. I feel that Nigerians coming from Nigeria feel they are capable of anything. They don't feel that they can't do chemistry or engineering or anything because they are black. And that was coming from a business school graduate born in the United States from 2 Nigerian parents. That's what he said, was if you start thinking about or becoming absorbed in the mentality that the whole system is against us, then you can't succeed. And so I feel like there's something there's something in that when the Americans are just so willing to victimize themselves and unwilling to take personal responsibility and be like, well, the president said this, and so everyone's going to follow it blindly. No, that's not. I don't know many people personally who would just do something because President Trump said to do it. Like, that's not something that is within my friend group. I am a registered Republican. I definitely identify on probably more central. I'm more central on a lot of issues. I'm definitely not, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. All I know is that I'm not concerned about whether I'm a Republican or a Democrat. All right. It's the same thing when Pope Leo was elected into his office. I am a Catholic. Pope Leo is not a political figure. He is the leader of the Catholic Church. No political party right now in the United States directly aligns with Catholicism. And you know what? You guys want to try to pit Christians against each other by saying, well, you can't be a Christian if you're a Democrat. Well, you can't be a Christian if you're a Republican. Well, guess what? It's not, that is what you get for separation of church and state. Like, you say that you want separation of church and state, but then you try to gaslight Christians into thinking that their faith is supposed to directly align with one of these two parties, when it's just not true. Being pro-life, being anti-abortion used to be a Democratic stance up until the late 90s. You're talking about something where you have things that don't even align with themselves. And then you're pushing stuff out to the states as well. So when you have things like the death penalty, you have to, uproot from everything that your family is away from the state that supports that? Like, that you would be on a jury potentially and have to have that be a consideration, that you would have to participate in sentencing something to that fate due to the law. Now, we are called to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. So, right, when as an American citizen, I'm going to be a law-abiding citizen and go according to the laws. Right now, there's no law that says that you can't take Tylenol if you're pregnant. That would be an asinine law. It's not something that would happen. Trump can say, don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant. Like, avoid it if you can, under like as many circumstances as possible. But obviously there's going to be a time and a place. Obviously there's going to be a time and place. Like, my kids, my youngest are not fully vaccinated. But if we started to have a measles outbreak here near Michigan, I would very likely have them get the MMR vaccine. That is the general consensus of naturopathic people, is if there's an outbreak, then consider going toward the measles vaccine. Because first off, right, then they wouldn't be able to spread it, and they'll be numb to it a little bit. That's the general consensus in the naturopathic world, at least the naturopathic doctors and the more like family practice style doctors that I've spoken with and interacted with. It's reasonable. People are not trying to be unreasonable or anything else, but there is that idea of having personal responsibility, persevering through it all, having self-discipline, going forward with those things. Now, one of the things that showed up today at Mass was the Psalm 147. The line of the third verse was, to the fatherless and the widow he will sustain. Obviously, that drew Charlie Kirk to my mind right away, with Erica Kirk and their two children. And I just think about all the pushback that Erica has gotten online right now about how she's not mourning the right way. I just talked about it. Was it in a short about Emily Kaiser and Erica Kirk? They have the same initials, ironically. But they've totally handled their grief in totally different ways. Emily disappeared for 3 months and didn't post anything. And everyone was like, where is she? Why isn't she posting? Blah, 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 blah. Like, people, she wasn't doing it right. Now here's Erica coming out 2 days later and, oh my gosh, it's AI. It's not her. She's not even crying. This is a lookalike. She's just faking it. All this stuff. And it's just like, she has God. Like, Erica has God. And just as the psalm today says, the fatherless and the widow I will sustain. Like, God's strength is supernatural. There's no doubt about it. And so being willing to surrender ourselves to that, God is able to give us the grace of self-discipline. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit. He's able to give us the grace for perseverance. And when we have that personal responsibility to engage in relationship with God, because it does take our effort to open our Bible and choose to read it. It takes effort to get out of bed to pray. It takes effort to seek Him and talk to Him and engage with Him. Those things take effort. And when we do that, there is something very grounding about it. There is something very centering, something that is very like, this is like, I am taking ownership of my life by surrendering it to God. And I'm going to allow him to work through me so that he can use all of the gifts and talents that he's given me so that he can be glorified, so that his kingdom may come, here on earth as it is in heaven. May his will be done. That's the whole goal. And unfortunately, the devil thwarts things, but nobody gets more thwarted than the devil, right? Charlie Kirk. I read somebody say they didn't know they tried to bury him, but they didn't know he was a seed, right? God can take all things and do miraculous things with it. Like, he makes all things beautiful in its time. Even Bill Donahue, he is the president of the Catholic League, which stands for Social and Religious Justice. He's been there since 1993. And he came from a fatherless home. He shares in this chapter. He was always in trouble, and it wasn't until he went to military school that he kind of started to get shaped up and everything else. But his grandparents helped out, helped raise his sister. And it wasn't until he enlisted in the actual military, said into the Air Force at age 19, that he straightened up. And then he says, though the rebel is still in me. And he points back to, it doesn't have to do with race, it has to do with fatherless homes. And so when there is a fatherless home, there's a reason that God is called our Father. He's our Abba, our Daddy, whatever you want to call it. But our Father, he is there to be that source of stability. That source to say, you are beautiful, you are talented. I've gifted you with these very specific things. Look at how good you are at them. And now take them, maximize them. Don't bury your talent, grow it, share it with others, do everything you can with it. And so that really stuck with me, that he revealed that here at the end of the chapter, because it gives hope. It gives hope that just because you came from a really bad situation, just because the devil tried to thwart God's plans, God can thwart the devil's plans tenfold over, hundredfold, thousandfold. Like, God is the one that is in control. Come hell or high water, God is in control. And if we turn to him, if we seek the Holy Spirit, if we long to be in communion with him, we can find a way to develop the self-discipline, the personal responsibility, and the perseverance that is necessary in order to fulfill the American dream, to seek life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is the American dream. And let's just look at these cultures and let's take the best of them. Let's see what talents and gifts have been cultivated, because if we could do that as the American people, if we could come together, say, look at these goodness, look at all these great pieces of these cultures, and let's tie them all together. Let's find a way to work in community and in union with each other. And let's allow other people their own level of personal responsibility. Let's nix this victim mindset and just stand up. Be a person, have confidence, and if you lack that, if you lack the self-esteem, if you think you're too traumatized, too much bad has happened in your life, turn to God, turn to Scripture, open the Psalms, open Proverbs, open James, open 1 John, open John 6. Just read the Bible. Just seek him in Scripture, seek him in prayer, seek him in silence. Listen for what he has to say. As I shared, right now, I'm going through the book War on Virtue by Bill Donahue. This was gifted to me by the Knights of Columbus, and so far I'm loving it. It's how the ruling class is killing the American dream. And at the time, ruling class being the left. This was published in 2023, and I'm looking forward to going through chapter 2 this week and sharing with you my thoughts. Please do leave any comments or suggestions in the comments below. Feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, I just look forward to talking with you guys. So good to see you. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.